Alright guys, well, welcome back to Rampant Lion Reviews once again, and as promised, I have a very special guest today. So this is my friend Daniel, who is from Germany, and we live together in first year of uni. So this whole beer tubing thing is kind of your fault, because you introduced me to Schlenkerla.
Okay, I'm sorry about that, guys.
That's not a problem at all. Life is good now that I was introduced to Schlenkerla. But today we're going to have a little selection of two of my local beers, and then one that's a kind of Scottish classic style, if you like. So I thought you would quite enjoy having a go at some of these. And
absolutely.
I'm sure in the future we can do like a Bamberg thing at some point.
Yeah, you should come over then to Bamberg.
Oh, one again.
We're going to drink through all of the breweries.
We'll get the certificate from the city council. Yeah. Do they still do that?
Well, they don't do it anymore.
Ah, is that for obvious reasons?
Yeah, because the people are drunk in the end. That's the problem.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
I think the last 3 beers would be all rated perfect, you know?
Oh, yeah. But still part of the fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so in the future, maybe in the next year, 2 years, something like that, we will make sure we have a Bamberg special, and you'll see Daniel once again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, we'll kick off with these 3 beers. So we have the Shahi from Harveston Brewery, the Freyek from Williams Brothers Brewery. Both of these are Clipmanshire breweries, my local area, of course. And then we have the Old Jock, which is a Scotch ale from Broughton Brewery. So I guess we kick off with the Shahi. So this, of course, is named after like one of the local hills here. In the, I can't remember if that is technically the Ochils, but Harveston Brewery is one of the older craft breweries in Scotland. It was a guy called Ken Brooker who started this up, just home brewing, and then he rented out a little local farm and he built up his brewery. They made it out of like dairy equipment and stuff, which was kind of cool. And then they've moved now to Alva. But this brewery, it was owned by one of the bigger breweries, Caledonian, and then Heineken bought that and didn't want this brewery, so it became independent again. So they're a nice kind of local craft brewery. But these guys are kind of a sort of traditional Scottish brewery more than like these kind of American style things. So it's a really nice pilsner. This is a kind of really easy-going thing to get into, but yeah. Ready?
Alright, let's go for it.
Yeah. Alright, and of course, for those of you watching abroad, the symbol of this brewery is Harvey the Mouse. I'm not sure how well the camera lets you see that, but yeah, let's dig in. If I can get this open. So yeah, there you are. But this is, if you try this on cask, these kind of pull cask beers, it always turns out like really nicely, because it's, I'll let you taste it for yourself, I won't spoil it. But yeah. There we are, I guess you can have a little bit more.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. There we are. Alright, so there we are.
Alright.
So yeah, this guy, I forget the alcohol in this one, but 4.8%.
4.8, okay. So that's quite just a regular beer, like a Pilsner maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a lager beer, so probably not too far away from a Pils. So yeah, kind of.
So it looks quite light, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of just sort of straw golden, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, straw golden sort of thing. It's quite bubbly, this guy, I think. But yeah. What are you getting from the nose, do you think?
Well, to me it smells like a Pilsner, to be honest.
It's kind of just straight up sort of grassy and grainy, isn't it? I'm pretty sure they use the Scottish malt in that, and I've always found that the Scottish malt always has like just this kind of grainy sort of bready note, and it's quite distinctive after you try a few of the different beers. It definitely, to me, it smells. There's a definite difference between like the German ones and this, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure it's Cascade hop that they use in this one, which is it's an American hop rather than a thing. But I don't get the same fruitiness of it. But I think it is a pretty.
Well, grassy is a good thing, I think.
Yeah.
But also quite sugar or caramel or something like this.
I like biscuit, I think. Yeah.
Biscuit,
sort of biscuity caramel. But yeah, it's kind of straight up, like it's not going to blow your head off in terms of the aroma.
No, not at all.
It's just a nice kind of straight up.
The foam is gone.
Oh
I
yeah.
know. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose that's a problem for Germans, isn't it? It's got to have more foam on it.
It's way too early.
Yeah, that's the thing for
Looks
Germans.
like an old beer now.
Yeah, this is one thing. When you drink with Germans, the beer has to have foam, and you have to have the right glass.
It should, yeah. Well, that's a good glass for this one, I think.
Oh yeah, but yeah, let's get stuck into this guy then.
Let's go for it.
Shahalian,
Prost.
Slanje, Prost.
Okay.
What do you reckon?
Quite a bitterness in there.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned that, because obviously, like with the IPAs and the American style of beers that I do quite a lot, it sort of numbs your palate a little bit to that. So for me, overall, this isn't quite bitter. But then when I think about it in the pills, it is a little bit more, I think, than a German one, perhaps.
Yeah, a German Pils is bitter in another way, I think. This has it's compared to German beers. This is quite bitter, I think.
Yeah.
But
it's a little bit more floral, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
It's more like sort of floral aromatic. See, this is what I'm pretty sure that it says on the website they use Cascade in this. I didn't check before we did the video, so apologies if that's wrong information, but I'm sure
Cascade hops.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it gives you usually quite floral.
Only one sort of hops.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I think the American hops are a bit more acidic, so they give you a stronger floral character than the German ones do. But some German farmers are making these higher acid hops now, so they're a bit more fruity and more floral like that. But I guess maybe in Bamberg you're more used to the sort of Tettnanger kind of Hallertau sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the main thing they use, the main hops. So, do you think it's not malty or anything, is it?
I think there's a little bit of malt
in
the aftertaste, I guess. So it's kind of, I think, sort of a little bready, little biscuity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you can, with the Scottish malts, I find you always get a little bit of that. It's got this distinctive sort of grainy bready thing to it, which is quite interesting.
I think it's good. It's easy drinkable. It's a good beer for the summer.
Yeah.
That's where for sitting outside.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, refreshing. That's what I would say. It's quite nice.
Yeah. I guess the sort of $1 million question is: do you reckon if this beer was sold in Bamberg, would people drink it?
I think in Bamberg, the people would either drink typical Franconian beer. The traditionals would drink that.
Or like the Keller beers and stuff.
The
like
Keller
this.
beers, there's a lot of
beers.
Yeah,
and all
and
this
then
kind of
in the other seasons in winter you would rather drink Starkbier or Bock beer. Yeah, but I don't know, this kind of beer you can taste that it's not German. By the differences, you can taste that it must be from another country.
Okay.
Just in the way it tastes and in the way the hops turns out.
Yeah.
It's a lager, as you said. Lager is quite famous in Franconia too, but it's usually darker and it's more malty.
Yeah.
So I would say it's a more heavier beer.
I always find the German beers are really smooth as well. This one's a little bit crisp, like more thingy, yeah. But I suppose it's an interesting point you raised there, that you can taste it's different, because I know that the brewery in Heidelberg, the Kulturbrauer, they actually use New Zealand hops in their beers, which was interesting. I didn't think a German brewery would. I thought that was maybe sacrilege in Germany, but I think some of them do, and of course you've got all these little breweries opening up and stuff now. So,
but so the malt itself, it's all of these beers are from Scotland then, or what do you think?
I'm pretty sure most of the malt does come from Scotland. There's probably some English malt in a couple of them as well.
Okay.
I would think, but I'm pretty sure it would be mainly Scottish malt. Of course, Scotland, like we can't really grow our own hops here, so probably the hops that's probably the reason why they use American hops or German hops. But Scotland's big malt country, obviously. England, of course, they have their own hops as well. But
But I think the place where the malt comes from is also a big thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Concerning the taste.
Yeah, because the soil nutrients and all
the
this
soil
kind of
and
thing.
the region and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the main question.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, the main question would be is if you like it.
Well, I do like it.
Yeah.
I think it's, as I said, it's really good drinkable beer for sitting outside in the summer.
Mm.
I think it's a typical summer beer for my taste.
Oh yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite nice, I think.
Oh yeah. Now this one, if you try it on cask, and it's actually really interesting with these pool casks. If when you don't have the carbonation with it,
Okay.
and you get a little bit smooth, it comes out a little bit more malty and a little bit fruitier as well, I think. Whereas when it has the carbonation, it comes out just that little bit more sort of floral and crisp.
Okay.
So it's interesting how the different conditionings can play with this beer too. Mm.
Well, I usually like beers when they are a bit more carbonated.
Mm.
Because it makes them, I don't know, fresher, or gives them. I don't really like the flat beers so much. And as you said, the pulling technique you have here, that's not really my taste.
Yeah.
But well, in Germany we have that called Bayerisch Zapfen. That means when you have the cask and you just have the cask and take out the beer.
Oh yeah. So it's a sort of natural carbonation.
Yeah, it's the natural carbonation what is inside the cask. And in bigger pubs you have the cask in the beer in a metal cask, and it's tied to the tap, and there's I think carbon. What do you say?
Carbonation.
There's carbonation added to it.
Oh,
from a different from a different cask
source,
as well, and you can regulate the carbonation, and then it depends on the pub itself how much they put inside, and how strong it's gonna get, and this changes the taste of the beer as well a little bit. But of course, it's not the original thing. It always depends. There's one in the town where I come from, Bamberg. There's one pub where they have one beer that you reviewed as well. What is it called again? Huppendorfer Vollbier.
Oh yeah,
you tried that one?
Yeah, I remember that.
And they have it, and they have a little bit more carbonation in it, and it's the pub is famous because the beer tastes a lot different there. It's a very famous beer for the people in that region, and they like it the most in that pub because they have a little bit more of carbonation in there.
Oh, okay.
So that's a funny thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the good thing about the German beer scene. I always say that in the videos, is that it's so regional. I mean, pretty much, obviously in Scotland we are smaller and things like that, but and there's a smaller concentration of breweries and things. But in Germany, there's just so many. Every town has one or two breweries or something like that. Right. So it's always different. And some of these breweries you can only buy the beer at the bar and stuff, which is kind of.
They just do small portions.
You can literally go in and just buy like a litre of the thing, and that's it.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's the wonderful thing about the German beer scene. You could go and live in Germany for 10 years and never run out of beers to review.
That would be hard to drink all of them.
Oh yeah, that would be an interesting task that would be a life dedication.
You would be an alcoholic for sure afterwards.
Well, the question is whether I am now or not, but
there you go.
Yeah. So second beer.
Let's go for it.
Right. So this one is really interesting. This brewery is from a little bit out into the countryside in the county, but this one's just from the next town along. But they originally were from Glasgow. So the guys who own this brewery, this is Williams Brothers Brewery. The two brothers that run this, one of them used to run a home brewing store over in Glasgow, and a woman came in one day with this recipe that was in Gaelic, and she translated it for him, but she wanted to make a batch of this beer, this ancient Gaelic beer for her family, and that's what this beer is. So this one's Freyak, and I think the recipe is supposed to be like 4,000 years old or something like that. But over the years, they made other historic recipes. That they've got a juniper beer. It's a sort of farmhouse thing. They've got one that's made with the resin from Scots pine trees. There's an elderberry beer as well. There's lots of different historic recipes, but mainly they brew these kind of light, sort of session, easy drinking beers, and with the American hops and stuff like that. But they're really, in a way, they've got more of a kind of similar feel to this Shahalian that we had. They are kind of a traditional brewery rather than one of the new American style breweries, but they like to play with the American hops and stuff a little bit. But this one is this was the beer I really wanted you to try because it's sort of a very historic kind of Scottish craft beer. So yeah, we'll crack into this then. So
alright.
yeah, Freich Heather Ale.
Freich. So that's Gaelic.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce it?
Freich.
Freich.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, this one, it's a heather honey ale, and I forget the percent.
Why heather? Is there heather inside?
What I believe what they do is that they when they ferment the beer, I think they put honey into it. Or no, sorry, that's lies. I think the honey has heather into it, and then and it sort of infuses.
Oh, it's heather honey.
Yeah, it's heather honey that's put in this beer, so it's pretty interesting. I'm not too clear on that process actually. That's something I should have looked up.
You're a chemist, man.
I should know that. I should know that. Yeah, so this one should be. I'm really interested with this because this is probably unlike anything you're going to have elsewhere. I guess maybe just tip the glass a little bit. It makes your head.
It's a lot more of foam than before.
Yeah, this one it seems to be.
You can see the difference.
Yeah, but it's crystal clear, this guy. But yeah, this is what it's all about.
So it's filtered.
I think so. Yeah, probably. I'm sure it will be. There's a little bit more for yourself. So this is a 4,000-year-old. 4,000-year-old recipe for this beer, which is really cool.
What's the expiry date then?
What is it? The September 2018. Okay. So it's good for over a year.
We're in time to.
Yeah, so you could theoretically age this beer a little bit if you wanted to, but yeah, but it says brewed in Scotland for 4,000 years. So yeah, C16 recipe, malted barley. Yeah, and it's just telling you about the thing. So yeah, it's a sort of florally kind of peaty thing, it says.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah. So yeah, crystal clear golden. Not much more to say about the colour. It's pretty
similar. A little bit darker than the one before.
Yeah, a little bit darker. But yeah, the aroma in this one I think you'll find really interesting.
Okay.
So, do you see with this one what I was meaning, that the Scottish malt is really distinctive? It's got that grainy, bready sort of thing, which you can smell it in here too. It's a little spicy, I think, as well.
Yeah, it's very bready, as you say. It's more dark bread, maybe.
It's almost like a kind of brown bready sort of thing. You can just smell a little bit
brown
of that.
Sugar, maybe.
Yeah. You can smell that. You can definitely smell the honey, I think, in this. Really.
Yeah. Maybe it's the honey. The honey sugar.
And you can I think you get just a little bit of that kind of spicy thing you'd expect. That sort of spicy floral thing you'd expect from the heather. But yeah, it's really, this one's more of a malty kind of beer than anything else.
Absolutely, a lot more than the one before, I think.
But yeah, I really like the aroma of this, and this is one I would say with the pool casks. This is really nice on the kind of pool sort of cask conditioning type of thing, because it just brings out the sweetness a little bit more. But yeah, should we get stuck into this one? Right. So Sláinte, Prost.
Prost. Okay, I think it's a very round taste. Yeah. It's not really bitter at all. It's not too malty.
Definitely, yeah. I think it's somewhere in the middle. Yeah, it's more of a kind of bready beer. I don't even know. Like, I mean, of course, it doesn't really. It's a very unique style. You can't really compare it to anything else legitimately. I think. I think it's something that really just has to be thought about on its own. Rather than,
I think it has a strong taste. In German, I would say würzig, which means maybe some herbal. Maybe a little bit herbal or something like that.
I think I can agree with that. Yeah,
but it's quite good, I think.
It in some ways, that the actual feel of this beer. If I'm remembering my Bamberg beer styles, you have the Zwickel the sort of Zwickel thing, the Keller beer and the land beer.
Mm-hmm.
This one reminds me somewhat a little bit of the land beer, and the Zwickel it's a little bit more bready. It's got its flavour profile is different obviously, but it has the same sort of feel, I would think. Probably more the Zwickel, I think, rather than the land beer. The land beer is a little bit
Land beer
hoppier.
is very, it's very usually very dark and bready, dark bread and very malty.
Yeah.
It's a land beer usually.
Yeah. So this one's probably somewhere in between the two,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Because the Zwickel's light and white bread, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
I think if you look at all the funny ingredients that are in there, I don't really have the feeling that you taste them so much. They just don't go over the top. It just sums up as a really good feeling, as a really good round taste, as I would say.
Yeah, it's sort of more about. I mean, that's the thing you notice with the traditional breweries in Scotland. It's more about how like the flavours go together, and how rather than being really punchy in one regard. I mean, like you think a Doppelbock, for example, like it's all about the caramel and the bread and that kind of thing.
Okay.
And but this one's more just about how everything goes together. It's not punchy in the kind of in the way that like these American IPAs or Doppelbocks and things are. In a way, it reminds me a little bit of the Dunkels as well, with the sweetness that it has. It almost has a little bit of that Dunkel thing to it. But like the hops in this, like around the edge of the tongue, you don't really get hoppiness from this at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, really, I don't think it even says on the bottle what the IBUs are. But
it's quite sweet. It's but also a little bit sour.
Sour.
That's what I would say.
That's quite interesting, actually. You say that, yeah. It's almost like the sour, like that's.
In the end,
you mean.
you know,
Yeah.
in the end, it's a little bit sour. I couldn't really pronounce what if it's a kind of fruit or anything. I don't know, but
yeah, I think there's a little sort of herbal. I see what you mean. Like there's that little kind of herbal thing. See, this is why it's always interesting to drink beers with other people, and then you get two perspectives on it.
absolutely,
Definitely, yeah. And I think it's really cool as well, because obviously someone like yourself who's more used to the German traditional styles of beer, it's really cool to see your perspective on something that is completely different.
Yeah, but as I said, when I look at the ingredients, whatever this is, sweet gale, heather flowers, and so on, I don't know. I don't really think it goes over the top. It's just a slight note maybe, but if I didn't know the ingredients, I would say, well, it's a regular beer made with the regular ingredients, but
yeah,
it's fine. I think.
So how do you think? What do you think of the beer? Would you say you would like it? You would drink it again, or?
I would drink it again, of course. Yeah, it's an easy drinkable beer. I think it's not a beer that goes over the top in some direction. It's too bitter or has a weird taste in it. I think it's a great round taste. It's more it's a darker beer as you can see. I think in a pub I would drink one of them and then it's fine.
Oh yeah.
This one is the Shahi. That's a beer where I would say, well, it's a beer in summer I can drink a couple of them just easily. It's just refreshing, you know, because it's so light. I would say.
Oh, it's easy, yeah. That's it exactly, yeah. But yeah, I always find it's got that bready character it has in the base. Then it's a little bit. You get a little bit of that spicy kind of floral thing from the heather, and just I think in the aftertaste that's when you get the sort of biscuity kind of honey thing coming out of it, and the hops. I mean, there's not really much to the hops at all. It's just a little bit grassy around the edge of your tongue, isn't it? It's just nice. But that's a very traditional beer. That one. I think that was a really cool one that I was keen to show you. And when I come out to Bamberg next time, I'll bring you some of the kind of big hoppy sort of the big beasts, the big beasts Scottish craft beers, the stouts, and
which would be which one?
Probably Tempest Brewery and Cromarty Brewery. Something from them. I think I'll need to seek those out for you when I come to visit you. I need to bring you some of the Swedish and Danish beers as well to try.
Okay. Don't bring too much, man.
Can there be too much beer?
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, so we chug this one off then?
Yeah. It's all right.
Alright. So, so yeah, you've tried a beer that the recipe is 4,000 years old now.
That's all right.
Yeah.
They knew how to brew beer 4,000 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're Scottish. We're like genetically alcoholic. So I suppose our heritage before that is like Nordic and all of this. So who knows where it actually came from, but it came. So right, the final beer of the little session is this one. So it's the Broughton Old Jock. Have you ever tried a Scotch ale before?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe in a pub with you. I don't know, but
I don't think we've drunk one of these before.
What is the difference between a Scotch ale and a real ale?
Right, the real ale is more of an English kind of thing. So in England you've got golden ales, you've got milds, porters, stouts, brown ales, all this sort of thing. The Scotch ale was a style that is kind of unique to Scotland. So most Scotch ales, the style's been taken over to America as well, but the traditional Scotch ale was always kind of... it's always a little bit sort of a grainy, bready kind of thing. You'll see what I mean about with this kind of Scottish malt type thing. But it's usually a bit caramel, a little bit toasty, bready, a little bit of earthiness to the hop as well, and then some red fruit. The American ones you try always lean really towards the kind of sugar. They're like really caramelly and stuff. But this is a kind of traditional one. So this brewery, Broughton Brewery, they're from Biggar, which is down in the borders. It's mainly kind of on the Edinburgh side. It's kind of southeastern Scotland. But these guys were the very first Scottish craft brewery.
Okay.
And I think it was 1979 that they were founded. And all their beers have this sort of this kind of character. It's almost like when you go into the pubs here. It's got the badge on the pool cask.
All right.
So this one's just kind of a Scotch ale. Most of them that are termed Scotch ales tend to be between 60 and 70 shillings. So this was a reference to how the tax system worked.
Okay.
So beer was taxed on the amount of malt and things and the alcohol content that went into it. So you had 50 shillings, 60 shillings, 70, 80, 90. And so most of them tend to be somewhere between the 70 and the 90, the ones that are termed Scotch ales. But yeah, this guy is just the Old Jock, which is kind of...
What does it mean, Old Jock?
Jock is like a slang term for a Scottish person. Usually the English usually call us jocks.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just, I guess it's just kind of that. And then you've got the old guy on the side. It does it say... it tells you in the back here, so... For centuries, the soldiers of the Highland and Lowland regiments of Scotland have been referred to as the Jocks, powerful fighting men who enjoyed strong beers when off duty. Old Jock reflects the strength and character of these men who would have enjoyed such a bold, strong ale.
Alright.
So this one is a 6.7% beer, and like I said, first craft brewery in Scotland, 1979, Biggar, and this is they call themselves like beers with character. So every beer, they've got one that has Robbie Burns on it. They've got the Green Mantle Ale was actually their first one that they did, I'm sure, and that was the very first Scottish beer. Couldn't find that one, but Scotch, it was cool.
Alright.
So yeah, for those of you guys watching abroad, this is the beer. Plain red bottle cap on this, 6.7%. So we've chatted enough, let's get it open.
Alright.
We'll get this guy open and get the tasting. So
you've got the beard guy, the hipster beard guy.
Yeah. I've got my beard.
Yeah,
my beard and things.
You're working on looking like this guy, yeah?
Oh yeah. I don't think I'm quite red enough for that. I don't think I've got the ginger enough.
Alright.
Yeah. Put a little bit more in.
There you go. It's quite a different...
Oh yeah. This one's a really nice beer. I mean, this is when everyone talks about the Scotch ales, the Americans have taken this style and played around with it so much, but this one is a sort of proper Scottish Scotch ale. So, as I say, the American ones tend to be a little bit more sugary and things like this. But the Scottish ones, it really should have a little bit of kind of roasty, bready sort of thing and cereally character to it. But yeah, I really quite like this beer. I mean, I'm not these guys are actually very good at brewing some of the English traditional beers, and I like the dark side. When it comes to English traditional beer, I really love the porters and the miles and stuff like this. I'm not so into the bitters, but these guys do some really nice English style bitters as well, which is kind of cool. But this one for me, if I had to choose a Broughton beer, it'd probably be this one. Just
that one, your favourite one, okay.
Probably my favourite out of their range, yeah. And they're kind of cool too, because they do brew. They are trying to brew some of the American style IPAs and stuff too. So it's cool to see a brewery that's so traditional brewing these beers as well. But yeah, so I think this is I think like a sort of copper colour.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it's quite dark. It's like it's almost like a dark beer.
So yeah, it's a sort of Dunkel colour, isn't it?
Yeah, like a Dunkel, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the head on this one is slightly more creamy, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Well,
I love the aroma of this beer. It's like so sort of. I guess for me, it's nostalgia a little bit. But what do you reckon of it?
It smells creamy.
Creamy.
Absolutely creamy. Like what is it called again? This American soft drink. Cream soda.
Okay.
It reminds me of cream soda, I think.
See, that's really interesting that you mentioned that. I would never have thought of that.
I think coffee.
Yeah, I mean...
There's coffee in there, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I never ever would have thought of that, actually.
Or a cappuccino, rather.
See, to me, it's creamy, like you said. I never would have thought of creamy right enough, but it's caramelly, biscuity, bready.
Maybe it's because of the foam, which is distinguishing right now.
Yeah. So it's creamy, caramelly, bready sort of thing, I think. But that's interesting you mentioned creamy. Do you get a little bit of a sort of figgy, red fruity thing from it as well? It's very mild. It's like at the top end of the nose, I think.
Yeah, well, it's mainly the caramel you smell. It's no bitterness. It's no maybe not even malt maybe, of course, but
yeah. See, I can even smell that kind of typical when you just sort of go like this with it. You can smell a little bit of the graininess and breadiness. It's got a sort of brown, not quite rye bread. No, it's some of the beers I smell remind me of German rye bread a little bit, and it's got a little bit of that, but not.
Well,
quite.
there's some fruit now, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, you start to get some of the kind of. It's like a candied red fruit figgy sort of thing. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But you see, these Scotch ales have always got a really nice complexity to them. I would guess from my previous experience of this one, this is maybe somewhere between the 70 shilling and the 80 shilling, I think. But it's a really nice kind of nostalgic beer for me, this one. But yeah, will we get stuck in then?
Okay.
Okay, Slanje.
Slanje.
Prost.
Prost. I think the mouth, the feeling in your mouth is also, in the beginning, very creamy, very soft. Then it's a lot, very malty, I would say. You can see it's a dark beer in taste. To me, it tastes like a German lager beer. You know, there's some parts that are like a lager beer.
Oh yeah. It definitely, I mean, it's interesting you say that, because to me now when I think about it, it has a little bit of that kind of... One thing I always talk about with German beers is that Brauhaus kind of smoothness that you get. I always find that when you go to a Brauhaus in Germany and drink the beer from the tap, to me it's always very smooth.
Very smooth, okay.
Yeah. Because it was we were talking about that earlier with these two, particularly with this one, the crispness, you were saying you like a little bit more carbonation. And yeah, in German bottled beers, I get that.
There's more carbonation.
Yeah, there's more carbonation. But if you go to the Brauhaus, I always find the beers are smooth like that. Even some of the Helles ones.
Yeah. Yeah, they might be. Yeah,
I think so. It's just interesting. It's always interesting, as I say, to get different perspectives on all these different styles and stuff. I know in Belgium actually, there's a couple of breweries like to brew the Scotch ale with the Belgian style yeast, but I don't know if this is a beer style that you could actually brew within the German purity laws. You probably could, I think, if you just use the different malt varieties.
So what's in there?
I think it's just it's mainly a sort of caramel malt thing and use Scottish kind of.
Well,
I think you could brew this within the purity laws.
Yeah, well,
But yeah,
it is. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I guess German breweries just stick to the sort of traditional German styles.
Yeah.
I think.
No, well, the purity law is only the ingredients. It's only about the ingredients.
Because it's still interesting that then in that regard that, I mean, I think you can see in different regions. Dusseldorf, you've got the Alt beer. Berlin, you've got the Berliner Weiss. Bavaria, you've got even the Franconian beers. You've got that. You've got the Doppelbox. The Helles. All these kind of things.
Yeah.
It's interesting that there hasn't been breweries taking styles from other countries in Germany in that regard. Because I know, even if you think about the craft beers now, there are craft breweries that brew Doppelbox, that brew American beers. So they take in all.
They
these
try
styles.
all that. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But German breweries, and even if you think Belgian breweries, they try Scotch ales. German breweries just never did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming up now more and more. There's all big breweries like Warsteiner and Krombacher that do, for example, IPA, which was never common in Germany before, but now it's beers like that get common more and more, and even the big industrial breweries they try beers like that, just to catch up with the trend of the craft beer breweries that come up more and more. They just do other beers.
Yeah. But what do you think of this one? Would you drink this again?
Well, I think it's a good beer, absolutely. It has this lager kind of style that I don't like so much. There's maybe it's the maltiness that leaves. I think it leaves a dry taste. In your mouth,
this is one of the kind of traditional things.
Yeah.
I guess the sort of trademark things with the Scotch. It's that grainy sort of cereally thing it leaves on your palate, so you get a little bit of dryness from the malt in this. Because I find this beer, there is quite a bit of cereally character in it. There's sort of biscuit caramel. It's got a little toasty note to it as well. It's almost a bit like a Dunkel in a way, but it's a little bit more roasted and sort of cereally. Yeah. It reminds me of that, but the Dunkel I find is just a little bit sweeter than this. This is more roasted.
Yeah, it's not so sweet. It's I think maybe it has a little bit of sour taste as well. I don't know where it comes from, but I think it's in there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just interesting to hear the sort of German perspective on the Scotch ale as well. Yeah. So this you said this was the very first one you tried.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I tried. Of course, I had a lot of beers in Scotland, but I don't know if I actually drank a Scotch ale.
Yeah. Yeah.
I doubt it.
This is probably the kind of pinnacle one, I guess, in Scotland. I mean, some of the new craft breweries have brewed ones, but they're a little bit more American-y, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is the sort of traditional style one. Yeah. But the hops are interesting in this as well. I get like a little bit of earthiness. Then as you, like on the side of your palate, it's a little bit more grassy and floral sort of thing. I think it's another one of these things. All of these beers are more about how everything goes together, rather than being really punchy in any one part of the flavour.
Yeah, it's quite round as well, I think. Yeah, you have this dark, I would call dark taste, the maltiness in there. Absolutely.
It's a nice beer though. I always enjoy going back to the Old Jock after after a while. I can't even think when the last time we would have drunk this beer is. Maybe a year or 2 years ago now. Okay. But this is one that I really do quite enjoy.
So it was number 500 on your list?
Oh, it was way before that, I think. It was quite a bit before that.
There you go.
Maybe 300 or something. I think. 250, 300, I think somewhere around there. But yeah.
I think right now it's, I think in the aftertaste, if you say that, it's a little bit fudge maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sort
a
of
taste caramel, but yeah. What is fudge? It's caramel, isn't it?
Yeah, so sort of usually has a little bit of vanilla flavour in it as well. You can I think there's definitely a bit of woodiness to this in the after,
Woodiness,
like sort of wood character. But yeah, it's a really, I really like this beer. Yeah, I can feel the alcohol starting to go to the head. I think.
It's a little bit more.
This is 6.7%. This one. So in comparison to the American ones, it is a little bit low. But as I said, I think it's between a 70 and an 80 shilling. But to me, I really like that. I really like this beer. This is really nice on the cask as well. You just get a little bit more sweetness from it when it has a little bit less carbonation. But this is a really quite nice one. So you got to try your very first Scotch ale.
Absolutely.
I think, yeah. So would you drink this one again?
I would, of course. Yeah. But before that, I have to drink that one, and then that one. So.
Oh yeah.
It's gotta be a long evening.
Yeah. I think we got the order right, definitely, with these three. I think slightly hoppier, then just a little bit of the spice, and then move on to the. I
think the taste gets stronger.
Yeah, you know? You can definitely get a bit more booziness from this.
Is, I think this is a quite intense beer. By the level of alcohol, of course, but also from the taste, from the maltiness, from I think there's also, I don't know, some dark chocolate maybe in there.
Oh yeah, probably.
And something maybe, I think in the beginning I smelled coffee, and in the taste there's some coffee in there.
There's maybe a little bit of black malt or something like that, roastiness. I always find that I get, when I was first kind of going on with the beer videos and stuff, I always found you can tell the difference between the black malt and the kind of coffeeness. The coffee is just a little bit smoother. I think there's a little tiny bit of black malt in here, just like you can feel just a little bit of that kind of roasty character pushing through, but it's not quite.
Yeah, it's not
smooth,
roasty. Yeah. It's not roasty. Right?
The caramel aspect of it's definitely a bit toasty, doesn't it? But yeah, it's a nice beer. This though, I quite enjoy
it's a good
this
beer.
one. Yeah. Shall we do the final chug then?
Yeah, the final two chugs.
The final offer, yeah. Okay. Right. But yeah, I like that.
Quite nice.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this kind of slightly longer session that I've done for this video, but I thought it would be really cool to let Daniel try two of my local beers and some of the traditional styles as well. As I said, Broughton is the Old Jock is a kind of traditional Scotch ale, the very first Scottish microbrewery. But it's been really cool to have you along for a video.
Well, thanks a lot.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. So I hope you've enjoyed these beers. We'll need to do one maybe another time on some of the craft beers, like the more American kind of new wave styles. So maybe we can film that in Bamberg as well.
Yeah, whenever you're there, you're invited to come over.
Of course, yeah. And as I say, whenever you want, return to Scotland.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'll definitely make sure we do some of the kind of new wave kind of craft beer styles at some point. So this was a more kind of traditional Scottish beer video, but it's been really cool to have you along. And this is what I always say to you guys. Beer is always subjective. So Daniel is obviously more used to the traditional German styles of beer. So particularly these two are more new to him. And even the American style hop that's in this one was a bit newer to you.
It's in a lot of German beers as well.
Yeah,
Cascade is very common. To use. Yeah,
I wouldn't have thought actually that was so common in Germany. But I said it even in the video. Like there's New Zealand hops, so who knows exactly what's going on? But Germany, as we know, very traditional beer country, and it is cool to see someone who I think it's fair to say you're more used to German traditional beer.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm from, so I don't know.
Oh yeah. But it's always cool to get different perspectives on some of the beers that you know quite well. And I'm sure we'll do a Bamberg video with some of the local Bamberg city breweries, and we'll try and do like a kind of new wave Scottish video for you at some point too. But thank you once again for watching. As always, a huge thank you for all your support, and a big thank you to Daniel for making a kind of guest appearance on the channel. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will catch you soon. From now, you will see some of the kind of craft beer reviews reviews return, but this was a really cool thing to do in the meantime. Stand it just now, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.